All right, well, what a pleasure for us. We have David Foster with us, Grammy Award winner many times over, and Katharine McPhee also will be a part of a show that they're doing alongside trumpeter Chris Botti, and they're coming to Medford here on June 15th to the Chevalier Theatre. Guys, thanks so much for being with us.
Hi, thank you for being here.
Always good to get back to Boston.
What can people expect with the show coming up in June?
You know, you got three different sort of genres of music, like sort of fused together, with me with my pop music and Kat with her, Broadway music, although she does more than just Broadway music, from her Smash and Waitress runs. And then Chris, of course, who's the consummate jazz musician, and but he loves every genre of music. So we're gonna do some great mashups, and Chris loves to have fun with the audience, as do I. And Katharine's our muse.
Well, I met Chris through David.
In Boston.
Well, not in Boston, but I met him. I met David on American Idol when I was a contestant, and then he and I did a bunch of shows long before we were ever a married couple. But I, as I said, met Chris from David, and he invited me to do the Boston PBS special that he did, and drinking on camera. There's beer in there, actually.
That's all good.
And yeah, so I've had this nice relationship with them over the years, but the two of them, they've been friends for a very, very long time.
We got a romance going for sure.
And just equally adore each other. And I think Chris was really excited at the notion of him touring with David. And then he said, well, what about dragging along my old ball and chain, me? So I'm now forced to cover all the genres, the jazz, the pop, what do you do? You don't just do pop. You also do like R&B, and it's hard to cover all of David's hits that he's had. But we have sort of set show that we've been doing over the years, and Chris has a set show, and so we're enjoying this process of working together to kind of find great transitions to meld them all together.
And you just talked about, Katharine, how you met David. David, I actually was curious how you met Chris, because I know this relationship goes back a long way. I should say this bromance goes back a long way, as you said.
And we met, I think, through, sorry to name drop, but I think we met through Sting. Chris, as you may know, has toured with Sting extensively before he became Chris Botti, quote unquote, and went off on his own. And it was probably through Sting. And Sting, of course, has as I do, the greatest admiration for this guy, because he's really, when you see his show, it's like a religious experience. I mean, we've seen his show so many times. He plays a residency at the Blue Note in New York, and we go every Christmas to see him. And it's just amazing. It's a flawless show. You're really uplifted spiritually and musically after you see his show.
I want to talk about these types of concert formats, because David, you've obviously done a lot with PBS, and since then I know you're doing more touring in terms of what you've been doing, along with some of the stuff that I want to get into with the musical that just came out as well. But when did you start to realize, okay, there is an appetite for me going on the road and doing these types of shows?
Well, it was through PBS, actually. You're a little young to remember this, but we did I did my first Hitman show for PBS back in 2008 or.
2008, yeah, because I was on Idol in 2006, and I was
and you were on the show.
It was in the show, yeah.
So that's coming up on 20 years ago, not quite, but and then the funny thing happened. So on my PBS special, I had Kat, I had Andrea Bocelli, I had Michael Bublé, I had Josh Groban, I had Babyface, I had Brian McKnight, everybody. And then somebody said, yeah, you should tour, because now you got this big platform. It was a really big hit.
I'm sure it was our manager.
Yeah, probably Mark. Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. So of course, when I went out, you can't take all those people on the road. And people were like, where's Michael Bublé? Where's Josh Groban? No, really, for the money you paid, you don't get any of those guys, okay? You get me. And so I had to struggle through the growing pains of that to figure out what would work on the road. And then I figured out.
Well, but you've always been, your specialty has been finding new talent and great talent. And so you've brought amazing singers on the road with you.
Yep, including you.
Well, yeah, I was a later addition, but Chile and Pia Toscano and like Fernando, people who were able to support all of the amazing songs that you've written, co-produced, all that. So
a long answer to your question, but that's the answer.
You guys mentioned some fun that you have with the audience. I wanted to go back to that. What does that entail? If you can give us a little bit of a preview.
All right. You're in the audience, okay? Anybody want to sing anything?
It's not that much.
Put up your hand. Put up your hand. Put up your hand. Yeah. Oh, you. Yeah. What's your name?
Joe.
Joe. Joe.
Joe.
Where are you from, Joe?
I'm from New Jersey originally.
Okay. Well, that's a problem right there. But we're gonna try anyway. Okay. What's your go-to song in the shower, buddy?
Go-to song in the shower. Oh, you see that you already got me stuck.
You're already dragging the show down.
Okay. All right. So
That's
I
the
would.
kind of thing we do.
There you go.
Yeah,
I'll
if
have
you're
to be
not
more
quick on your
quick-witted
feet,
next time.
Boom, boom, boom.
if you're not
Yeah.
quick on your feet, he'll pass you by.
I'll just move
Yes,
on.
that's good.
And
I
then
was
he
thinking.
tells everybody that you do have a chance of getting a record deal. So, you know, you
Before
better,
he sings, but after he sings, like
yeah, it's your turn.
After
fun.
that, it's over. Kat, you talked about all the different types of musical styles that you have to incorporate in this. What's the trickiest part about that?
I mean, the trickiest part is just like not being prepared. Like if I hadn't spent time with maybe some songs that Chris would like me to do, he has sort of a set group of songs that he has done throughout all his shows, you know, consistently. I think people have this notion that touring artists change their shows all the time, and actually they'll change a little bit here and there, but they don't change like on some huge
No.
huge spectrum. So I think for me, just making sure that I'm very, very comfortable with the new songs that I'll be singing. I'm familiar with all of them, but I think that's probably the biggest challenge. And then the stuff that I do with David that we do together, we've been doing for a long time. So, but this show actually will be different because it is just
It's
a
the three of
completely
us.
just the three of us, and the transitions will
me
be.
and Chris.
And
So,
We miss Chris. We wish
and he
Chris
got
could
very
be.
sick, and our apologies. He is very sick, and
Yeah.
not deathly sick, but he just couldn't get here. So
He's just saving all the energy for the show. That's
yeah.
what it is.
You know, it's funny what Kat was mentioning about the changing up the show. Like, so with our show, you know, we have this sort of set 90 minutes or whatever, and then one person said, "Well, you're coming back here next year. Like, you're going to do a different show, right?" No, I'm not going to do a different show. You think I'm going to give you? I've already honed down what's the best 90 minutes of my hits, right? You want me to now go to the B list? You want me to play the B hits if you want another 90 minutes? Oh,
There's no B hits. That's funny, but truthfully, there's just like only so many of those songs that I can actually sing. And we know nobody wants to hear you sing those songs. So
hell no.
Do you ever try for the shows?
Well, I sing a little bit in the
does
show,
sing a
but
little bit.
well, you know, like songwriter kind of singing, you know?
Yeah.
Your singing's actually good, but not a whole night of it.
No, not even 10 minutes of it.
David, I wanted to ask because you did conquer a newer frontier with Boop the musical, and that was nominated for a Tony Award. What did that mean to you that, you know, doing something like this led to another nomination for something like a Tony?
It was sort of a natural progression, you know, it just seemed like an area that I could do well at. So it was a challenge, and I'm always up for a good challenge. It was a long process. It was like 15 plus years in the making. We finally got to Broadway, and now with the Tony nominations, as you said, 3 nominations, and you know, it's stiff competition, but the show is fun, it's light, it's breezy, and you walk out of there and you feel good about yourself.
Well, it's a great family show. If like anybody is coming to New York and they have any question about whether something would be appropriate for their 8-year-old, their 12-year-old, it's like the perfect family show. So I'm so proud of what you've done with the show, and
we've seen a lot of the shows that are nominated this year. In the best musical category, we've seen Sunset Boulevard, Death Becomes Her, maybe Happy Ending, and they're all fantastic,
great shows,
amazing shows, but they're all kind of dark. You know, they're not.
Well,
they're,
not maybe Happy Ending though. That's a cute.
Well, it's cute, yeah, but it's you know.
But it's not a family.
You can't take kids to it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we're one of the few shows that you can actually, you know, age 8 to 80. If you don't want to see Aladdin and Lion King, if you've seen them already, you know, this is a good place to bring the whole family.
And a couple more questions for you guys. One of which is you both have accomplished a lot in your respective careers. Is there a frontier that you haven't gotten to yet that you still want to go out and try and conquer?
Well, I know. I mean,
No, for you.
I know you want to move into. I was just gonna try and come up with something. Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, for me, gosh, I don't know. I mean, there definitely another television series on the horizon. Like to just do another. I love being on sets. That's like a place that I thrive. I love the routine of it. I love the creativeness of it, the consistency of it. So the business has definitely been in a very strange place for actors all over from all different backgrounds. So I don't know when that's going to sort of start to speed up, but
it's strange that she's such a great singer, but she really wants to act. I mean, she's been on 3 TV series, successful, and that's really her passion over singing.
Well, I wouldn't say it's like over singing. It's just so different, and it's it's just a different creative experience. Like singing is more isolated. It's like you have to practice by yourself, right? Like you have to work on the songs by yourself, and then the collaborative experiences when you're out on stage, but you don't do that. Like, you have to travel to do the shows. Whereas like a set is you're rehearsing with people, you're rehearsing lines with somebody. So it's just a more collaborative experience. So that's what I would just say is that I like the difference of it all. But I don't know. I think getting older, I realized how it's so much easier to be creative on lots of different things that you didn't even ever imagine about. Like I loved building a home. I loved interior decorating. I love learning new recipes. Like there's so many things that fill up my cup that I didn't think like, oh my God, if I don't have a TV show, or if I don't have a touring life or a record deal or whatever, that I'll die. And I love being a mom and finding fun things for us to do. So my life is very full and I feel creative in lots of different ways. So it's changed as I've gotten older.
And what do I want to do yet?
I think you just want to go along the ride with me.
Okay.
That's a
we want
great
to build
answer.
another house because we like the
We
parcel.
love building the house. I mean, it's hard. Like anything that's great that has a great outcome is hard. There's work to it, and there's time and sweat and there's stress and blah blah blah. But there's like you get something beautiful out of it, and that's what work is. It's not just like all fun and games.
It's not a hobby.
Right.
It's not a hobby.
Right.
Final thing for you guys. Obviously, you're coming to the Boston area. Shows in Medford, but I know, Kat, you went to school in Boston,
Yes.
and David, I know you've been here a lot. What is your favorite part about the city?
Gosh, I have such a different experience of Boston because I was there as such a young person and I was living there on my own for the first time. So I don't know if I can even answer that question. I was a college student. I was only there for 3 semesters, but that time was just like incredible time for me. I just loved coming from being an LA, California girl to living in Boston to be able to walk to school and take transport. My first semester, I did a show at Harvard. I did a musical there, and I would take the #1 bus all the way down to Fenway, or not Fenway, to Cambridge. I loved the sort of independence, right? But the collective independence where you're amongst people, and whereas LA, everyone's in their cars by themselves and stuff like that. So
yeah,
I don't know. I don't even remember what I don't think even in college I was going to nice restaurants, so I can't even tell you my favorite restaurant. It's just, I had such a specific college experience there.
I love I love the Patriots, of course. We love Robert Kraft, love the team, love the Bruins when I was a kid. I was fixated on Boston at a very early age. I don't remember when, but there's only 2 or 3 places that a young musician can aspire to go to schooling wise. One of them's Juilliard, one of them's the Banff School of Fine Arts, and top of my list was the Berklee School of Music. Oh. And that's always been in my head ever since I was probably 18 or 19 or whenever it started, and got to get to Berklee. So I've sort of been fixated on Boston. I never made it there to go to school, but I did give the commencement speech in 2001, I think.
Well, so, and I have to add that one of the really cool experiences that I had in college, now Berklee is part of the Boston Conservatory. I think they've melded together, but our college was such a performing arts school that we didn't have a cafeteria. So all of us musical theater students would walk to the cafeteria at Berklee, and we would have, I was friends with all the musicians there.
Of course you were.
I was having lunch with the cool jazz, the jazz players, and just super. So I got to have that experience. Yeah. Actually, I keep forgetting. And we were in our ballet outfits for afternoon ballet class and things like that. So it was very, very cool.
Yeah. Very creative city, as you well know.
Yeah, we're excited to have you guys. Again, the concert's coming up June 15th at the Chevalier Theatre in Medford, and it's been great talking with you guys. David Foster, Katharine McPhee, and then also Chris Botti, who obviously is not part of this, but we'll get a chance to see him here coming up in a little over a month. Guys, thanks so much for being with us. We appreciate it, and we can't wait to hear the music.
And What's your go-to song?
Go-to song, "Hot in Here" by Nelly.
Okay. All right. Play us out with that song.
Here,
Go.
I like it.
Go. Play us
A
out.
little bit of with a little bit of
Winner.
There you go. Great job, guys. Thank you so much. That was awesome.
Good job.